All right, guys, welcome back. Episode 2 of the Backstop. I'm BC, joined along with our co-host CBrev.
Yo, what's up, guys?
And today, guys, we have a special guest. Our first guest on the Backstop. We have a very famous streamer from the morning streams of the MLB The Show directory. Been going at it every Monday through Friday since I've been on Twitch. We have Big Old Buck. How you doing, Buck?
Guys, how you doing?
Doing
Doing
great,
good,
doing
man.
great. Guys, many of you know, Big Old Buck streams pretty much. He's one of the most dedicated streamers that I've ever met. This guy goes every Monday through Friday, and a lot of the times 2 streams a day. Uh, a lot with MLB The Show, but I also noticed Buck's been branching out to other games, which we'll get into, which I really like enjoying. I enjoy seeing that stuff. Like there's always that little, segue to where some people, are kind of scared to get away from the same game. Buck's not one of those people, and I really enjoy watching that. Now, I'll be honest, that's kind of hard, as this all being streamers. It's kind of that little, niche where your audience is in a certain game, but also it's all about personality, and Buck, you're full of that, and we're very aware. But, Buck was actually a part of our group, the firm, and he branched out and started his own group, the Bench Warmers, which we'll get into in a little bit. But maybe if we can go ahead and start off, Buck, maybe if you can give us an idea of, as you growing up as a child, what really got you into video games, gaming, and really brought you to where you are today?
Well, when I was growing up, we didn't really like our first system was the Atari 2600, so that's how old I am. But most times weren't allowed to play video games, maybe about a half an hour a day. But the very first game that I got addicted to was Baseball Stars on the Nintendo. Like I said, because you could edit the characters' names and stuff like that, but you only had so many uh, letters to use on the names, so you had to like be very creative with some people. But and then after that, it was Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball. Um, and then I got off consoles and started playing PC games. I played Star Wars Galaxies, World of Warcraft, and that kind of stuff for a long time until I discovered Twitch. So yeah.
And were you in? Did you get on Twitch after it was Justin.tv, or were you in it when it was Justin.tv?
Now first saw it when it was just in TV. I didn't really have an account or anything then. The only reason I looked up or got on Twitch was because I started playing a game called Dead by Daylight, and I wanted to know more about it. So I got on there to watch some gameplay, and I found a streamer named Angry Pug that I started watching. He still streams that game. He's the first streamer I ever subbed to, and still am subbed to him. And so that's how I found Twitch.
Yeah, when
He's
I
actually
first
the reason I started streaming too, like
when,
because he just reminds me a lot of myself. So I just thought if somebody like that could do it, that I could do it.
what's
So
kind
I
of
tried it.
ironic is you're the first person that I ever subbed to on Twitch. True story. and um so whenever you first started, okay, I love that you went back to the NES baseball games. Okay, I have a very broad memory because I went, like, I've mentioned this before, but maybe a lot of people know I didn't play video games for 10, almost 11 years, until pretty much when the show 17 was dead, and I just fell into the community by complete coincidence. It's a really stupid and weird story, so I'm not even gonna worry about it. But one thing I remember about Nintendo is there was a game that used like gimmick names like the Babe, the Mick. Do you have any remembrance, or do you recall this game at all? I can't remember what it was called, but it was definitely on Nintendo, the original NES.
I don't, not
Oh
offhand.
man. See, it kills me because I cannot remember the name of that game, but I was hooked. I was like, I guess I was maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, and I'll never forget thinking that this. I was like, video games are never gonna get better than this, and
Right.
I played. I tinkered with like mostly wrestling games, on regular, the first PlayStation console. And then, after a while, it was just, work and business and all that. I sat it down, put it up in the attic, didn't play. And then once I got back and I seen all these new graphics and stuff, I was just freaking mind blown. And
Right.
that's where I'm like, this is my personal opinion, is when I see some people complaining, especially some of the younger generation, they don't understand. Yes, like it's the like for instance, MLB The Show 20. It's got a bunch of glitches, and we're super aware of that. But if you compare this back to NES days, we would be mind blown. It would be like VR back then for what we're playing now compared to
Right.
back to NES and Atari days.
Yeah, because the Atari was block characters
Exactly. What was
who
it?
ran
8 bit?
side to side.
Yeah, 8 bit.
What I always
Yeah.
tell people when they start, like, a lot of people in my chat complain about Showdown, and I always tell them, like, back in the 90s, if you could just walk into an arcade and there was something like Showdown there'd be a line out the door to play that
Yep.
game.
Oh yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I'll never forget there was one it was a gas station that okay, it was a little ass city. My mama was from a completely Hispanic city. I'm talking there was maybe 200 people that lived in the city and maybe two white people. And I would go and they would drop me off at this gas station and in the back they had two arcade machines and one of them was like some kind of Street Fighter, but it wasn't Street Fighter, it was a game like that. It was literally like arcades and then they had wrestling, and it was like WrestleFest or something like this. And it was back when they had like Big Boss Man, Randy Macho Man Savage, Hulk Hogan, and you could do like co-op playing. It had two joysticks and two buttons. Do you guys recall that at all?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
my
I'm a little too
mission.
young.
I am on a mission for the last year and a half to find that damn arcade and get it so I can freaking bring back my childhood memories, but I cannot find that damn thing anywhere. But one day I'll find it.
Yeah.
But
I used to go to the arcade all the time.
yeah, and that was the
Maybe
good old
they'll
days.
remaster it.
It's like
Yeah.
nowadays, like an arcade, when you think about it, you think about the claw machine, the coin pushers. Dude, that's like, to me, it's like they have watered down arcades so much that, people can't really appreciate, like, the old school stuff that, kind of like Buck and I grew up on. And,
Actually, up the road from us, about 20 minutes, there's a retro arcade up there where they have a ton of pinball and video game machines up there.
see, I've
It's like
heard
20
about
minutes
those.
from me.
And if I was
Yep.
near that, I know you visited. I know you, Buck. You have visited that thing, haven't you?
Yeah.
I figured so because I would 100% go.
Yeah. It's really cool.
So what was your like? Okay, so we went to kind of like your first gaming experience. Was there ever a time where you just like sat video gaming to the side, or have you always consistently kind of been a gamer your whole life?
I think ever since we got our Atari, I've been hooked. I don't think there's ever been a time where I've gone any good amount of time and not played video games. So yeah, I would say since I was a kid, I've been hooked.
And I really
Yeah.
think it's a good
Mhm.
outlet, honestly, because to me, like for me personally, it's a hobby, and it's honestly as much as you can rage. Like, let's be honest, we're all human, and I think in real life we're not gonna rage over certain things,
Yeah.
but whenever you're doing mechanics and stuff inside of a game, and you don't get what you're supposed to get, it'll piss you off because you're human, right? But like, how do you feel like the state of the game right now? I mean, well, let's just talk about MLB The Show 20 in particular for this point. Like day one launch, I thought we had like, I think like, damn, we got there. They did it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, we had a game.
And
Yeah, we did.
and then all these patches, like, okay, now patches are new to me because when I played video games back in the day, you got a disc. Like the last game I ever played before I picked up the Show 17 when it was like $15 at Target was Madden 06. And I don't even know if there was online. I just played against a computer or played like my season or with the homeboys that came over. How did you really know? When did you see that kind of like that shift from just like whoever came over to everything going online, and that's pretty much where you play now? Like, what game cycle were you in, or what video game were you playing when you kind of discovered that and decided, because that's pretty much what we all do now, and it's kind of like a given. But of course, you've been around the community, you've been around gaming much longer than some of these other cats that are on Twitch. So how did you kind of like when was the game cycle or the game that you kind of figured out like, wow, this online shit is the future? Because I know you kind of foreseen that directive, knowing you. Like, where did
The
you
very
kind of
first the very first online game I played was an MMORPG, and it was called Star Wars Galaxies.
Star Wars?
I played the hell out of that. It was Sony made it, which is funny because they also ruined that. After about I think the game. I don't even think the game lasted more than 8 years before it was gone. And people have tried to recreate it. Like there's all these emulator servers out there um, to try to recreate it, but they went through 3 different cycles with that game, and each one made the game worse until it was eventually they just got rid of it. And then I switched over to World of Warcraft because it had just came out,
No.
during this time.
Uh,
So I've been online for a while playing games. I
uh,
started playing baseball, like the show. I started playing that in. See, I played the show 14, but that wasn't online. The first year it was online was 15,
oh,
and
15 is when the show went online.
yeah, and it was that. Now, if these kids today played that game and they're complaining about how fast the pitching is, all the online play in 15 was all the same speed, and it was all fast. There was no all-star. There was no. Everything was the same speed,
Yeah,
and it was all fast.
and that's what I see a lot of people like wanting is it's just like the same pitch speeds, everything
should
like
be.
that. Yeah, and actually
Yeah.
that would be better for like players like CBrev. He's so gooned out that like to him it doesn't matter. But we were talking before, and with this new patch, like he's noticed a huge differential on Legend. And have you noticed anything with like every patch like? I really have this theory that like they also we got to realize like okay Seabrev and I have never talked about this, but when he does his card reviews, I told him I was like, dude, the '68 bronze Tim Hill. I was like, this is a dirty ass card. Review it. And I was wanting to do it for lulz. He wouldn't do it. And this card, it's a bronze, but I literally had this card in my bullpen. 70 innings in the show 19, I had a below 2 ERA. And it was
They
that
changed his
glitchy.
delivery.
Yeah, but they don't
Mhm.
put that in patch notes, So
They did it to the knuckleballer too.
yes, I
They sped
noticed
up his
that.
knuckleball. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
actually good for the game because honestly, like the guy's playing in what Japan or Korean baseball,
Yeah,
and
he's not even in the league. Yeah.
yeah, so it's really weird to have him in the game. But like how do you feel about like because you stream this every morning. You don't have to, but you do. You stream the game pretty much every day. So whenever these patches come out, how do you really feel like? Do you feel like they're on point with their patch notes, or there's a little bit something extra in those that they're not really making a statement to the community about?
There's always extra stuff, and you can tell anybody that plays the game for any amount of time can tell when there's other stuff being done to it. And I don't think they're necessarily honest all the time with what they say they're doing to the game either. Like when this last patch with the timing, where they messed with the timing window allegedly or whatever, they definitely made the PCI bigger. But I think the bigger you make the PCI, a lot of people, I struggle with the larger PCI. I prefer the smaller one because it makes you lock in more, I feel like. And if you have
Yeah.
the bigger one, it makes you lazy.
And
You know what I mean?
on All Star, the bigger PCI is actually worse because
Yes.
you're like more prone to good OKs and good popped
Mm-hmm.
because like the edges of the PCI have more range.
Yep.
So it's like I
It's
don't
really
know.
odd to me because I'm very well known as an average player, but honestly, this year I've played the best I've ever played. Now, have I made World Series? No, because honestly, I haven't tried. But I've noticed like I'm doing a lot better than I've ever played. And but also I noticed like you could put that ball dead square center, have a perfect, do the same thing the next pitch, and it's good. Okay, popped out. So as I used to be a developer, like a lot of people don't know this about me. I used to develop online casino software, and like true story, the shit's rigged. Like they know when you're gonna bet big, so they pick up on the larger amounts. They'll let you win 1 out of 6, and then boom, you lose. Boom, you lose. Well, once you win that big hand, unless you're super smart, you're gonna keep going, right? And that's whenever people start losing their money. And online casinos make so much money, people don't even realize how much it is. So what it is that RNG factor. And I'm still convinced. People can think what they want about me, but I'm convinced no matter what game you play, there is going to be random RNG, randomization in any game you play. I mean, do you agree with that, or do you have a stance against that?
I think there's always going to be a certain amount of it. But when you're playing a game that is supposed to be based on your ability with the sticks and the controls, there shouldn't be the amount that there is. I feel that there isn't.
I
Like
agree.
I feel like so many of the results are just thrown into a blender and you get whatever it is. Like, and it shows on the PCI. Like literally the other day after the patch, I've streamed for 6.5, 7 hours and played. I just played the event, which was on All Star, and there was so many times. Like we kept track of how many times the ball was where it's supposed to be in the PCI, and it was just random results. One time it'd be a good okay, and it should have been perfect placed on where the ball is in the PCI. And I feel like ever since the very first patch, the perfect amount has gone down. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's gotten patched out a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like it's
Mostly
harder
been
to
good,
get.
okay. Yeah.
It's harder to get perfect than it was day one.
And when you're getting them a lot of times, I'm finding you're getting a lot more outs with them than you were before. Like
Yep.
lineouts, just like last year again. Like, so I don't know. I stopped playing ranked seasons because I don't want to rage. I get tired of raging on stream, man. Like, I just don't. I don't think people want to watch that, and I'm far too competitive to not be that way. Like, if I know the game is, giving it to me, I don't know. I don't do well with that. Maybe I'm just because I'm old. I don't know, but I don't know.
Hey, I'm on the same stage as you are. I streamed last week. I had 4 perfects in a row, all routes. And I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not great by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not awful. And the thing that sucks is when you're streaming and, it doesn't matter if you hide your name or not, people are going to find you when they play you.
Right.
And the thing that triggers me the most is when you play somebody and you're better than them, and the results don't, the results you're getting in game don't, allow you to win the game, and you'll lose by some kind of trash, like with the defense or with the base runnings. I feel like base running's not even working correctly this year. There's been a lot of times where my guys on their own, legitimately the other day, my Chipper Jones was, I swear, 2 steps from home. He stopped. He just stopped, turned around, ran back to third, stopped again, and then tried to score and got out. And I hadn't touched it.
Have you guys noticed?
What is going on? There's a clip. I put it on Twitter. Like,
ever since this new patch, I shit you not. When I'm streaming, I know people think, no, BC fucking did that. But have you guys noticed any base running glitches since this fucking this new patch?
Yes.
Dude,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yes, they do what the fuck they want. Like, I'm like, bro, I didn't tell you to do that. And then what happens is you end up running yourself out of an inning when you didn't even, if you push the button, you fucking push the button. But
dude,
there's a huge one right
aspect. Now. Yeah.
There's a huge base running glitch where, the dive indicator is not working correctly, specifically with outfielders who have a ton of speed, like Mickey, Buxton, people like that. And so your base runners will auto run on a indicator, but the outfielder's fast enough to catch it on his shoe tops, and so you can literally just line out into triple plays because they'll just run the ball down like normal because they're fast, but the game will auto send your runners because they think it's gonna drop because the indicator's a dive and they don't expect people to make diving catches.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know how many people off.
It's so triggering too, because whenever you're trying to make that comeback, like last night, for instance, I was streaming. I'm playing a competitive game. Boom, 2 hits in a row, 2 perfects, get 2 guys on. So what I did is I took a small lead off. One guy should have got picked. That's on me. So I send him back. Well, my other guy just takes off. And I'm like, what motherfucker? I pushed back all, and so I get doubled up by not even getting, the guy didn't even pitch to my batter, and I got doubled up. And that was so triggering. And the hardest part, I think both of you guys can attest to this, is when you're streaming, you don't want to look like an asshole and just get triggered. But we're all human, and it'll happen,
Yeah, I haven't broken anything on stream yet, but I've come close. The other day I came really close.
Yeah, I've had my first controller chucks there lately. I'm not gonna lie about it. I broke my first controller.
Yeah, it's just the thing that's so bad is I want to play more. Like, I want to play the game more because I love baseball and I love the show. But when every core aspect of the game, pitching, base running, hitting, and fielding, has flaws and noticeable, in my opinion, game breaking flaws, I don't know why anybody would really want to play the game online unless they just that's all they really love. Like, because to me, it's not worth my sanity, man.
Yeah, I
Like, I
agree.
don't know. I played so much Showdown this year. It's like I still can't do. I mean, I'll do the conquest because you have to for the stars, but I can't stand it. But Showdown's the best thing they've ever added to this game, man.
I
That
agree.
that stuff fun.
It gets
Yeah.
wearing on you, but also the reward is worth the grind. Honestly, it
Mhm.
really is,
Yeah,
in my
I'm just
opinion.
grinding prestige right now. That's by doing Showdowns. That's all I'm doing,
Yeah,
and collecting the cards and hoping that we get a more playable version of this game at some point this year. But
yeah.
I don't know. And I understand we got a quarantine going on and stuff like that, but then they shouldn't have patched the game in the first. They shouldn't have patched the game in the first week it was out like they did. In my
It was
opinion.
perfect in my
Why?
opinion.
Why would you do that? We didn't hardly get any time to play the game. Like, you don't know what's going to happen on Hall of
Yeah,
Fame or Legend.
no one had gotten to Hall of Fame or Legend yet,
Barely
except for
got
like,
into All Star.
yeah.
And why are you patching the game? Like, that makes
I
no
think
sense.
I think they look at one of the core issues. I think is that they look at real life batting averages, slugging, on base, stuff like that, and they try
Yeah.
to match the game to what should be in real life. Like the good players should hit
Mhm.
350, the bad players should hit 200,
Mhm.
stuff like that. But real life and this game are different, and
Exactly.
I think that if someone can hit 500, that they should. You know what I
Yeah, they're
mean?
taking it too far with the realism. I think.
They're just trying to match these arbitrary numbers to real life when really real life baseball and this game are nothing alike aside
Nope.
from the rules of baseball.
See, one
You
thing
know?
that stuck out to me was them just being so huge on skill gap this year.
Yep, and they've taken it away, in my opinion.
Yes, it's gone. It's gone. Like, I was talking the other night, and I made a true comment. I matched up with somebody who had the shittiest record I think I've ever seen in this game. And I said, but let's be honest, this is
Way to be
MLB The
humble,
Show
BC.
20. Anybody could beat anybody. It's the truth.
All right, Buck. So you're a part of a couple organizations / teams. You want to tell us about some of those?
Yeah, so Noble is the mainstream team that I'm on, and I actually got promoted to their mainstream team, which has people like Mills is on that. And actually, me and Mills are really the only sports gamers that mostly play sports games. The rest of them are mostly shooters and stuff like that. But it's a great group, a really great community of people. We have some great sponsors, Elgato, Logitech. So we have some good people we work with there. And then I have my own stream team called the Bench Warmers, and it's just basically me and like 8 or 9 of my friends that stream. Some aren't streaming right now, but like Chuman 11, Decker, Gonzo, Nixie. Let's see who else is in there. Instant Spuds, Fluffy, and Commando, I believe, is who we still have in there. Yeah. And basically, all we do is we just share a Discord and talk about things we want to do when we stream and stuff like that.
Bouncing
Maybe do
ideas.
stuff. Oh, and Nurse Gamer Ryan. Yes, Nurse Gamer. Yeah, bounce ideas off each other and stuff like that. A lot of these guys are on the community team for Noble too now. Because Noble has a stream team, a mainstream team, and then they have like a community team. And if you do really well on the community team, and all this stuff, then eventually they'll promote you or whatever. But yeah, so it's pretty good.
How did you
I
fall
enjoy
into
it.
Noble? Like, where did that communication come from, and what exactly like is the directive of Noble? Like, I see huge streamers with as a part of Noble because I looked into it after you joined, of course, just out of curiosity. Wasn't stalking or anything, but I was just like, for a buck to join an org, it's got to be something going with it. So what is really the directive of Noble? What do they do for the communities?
Well, they help you with sponsorships that including things that you just want to do for yourself, not an organizational thing. And a lot of the people that are at the head of it have so much experience with streaming and a lot of connections with companies like I said, Elgato and Logitech and stuff like that. And I have a really good friend outside of Mills. I'm really friendly with Mills too. didn't start off that way, but me and Mills have like, he's helped me a lot with my streaming the last couple of years and my attitude. And because when I first came to the show community, I butted heads with a few different people who just didn't like, they saw me as a clown basically,
Mm-hmm.
because I was decent at the game, but like I have fun when I stream.
Yeah.
So I kind of made fun of people that took it too seriously or took themselves too seriously. They didn't like that. So
Yeah, and also I think you're right. Like Mills, great guy, man, but he's an acquired
he
taste.
really is.
He's an acquired taste. Like when I first met Mills, I was like, you know what I mean. But once I
I'm
actually
the
like
same way.
gave him a chance, I was like, this guy's cool as shit. You know what I mean? And
and I have another friend, and his name's Crooklyn Cat, and he mods for Dr. Disrespect, and he's like, takes care of like PC issues. Like he's really good at knowing his stuff on what you need to stream, the best settings, like, and he's really helped me since I first started streaming. He's another smaller streamer. He's been trying to get partner for a while. But everybody knows him as far as like in a lot of the communities, because like I said, he's a mod for Dr. Disrespect. He's been in Angry Pugs community. He's everywhere, and he's just a really, really good dude. And he had talked to me about it too. So he was really the reason I looked into joining in the first place. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah, he's a really good dude. Like there are helpful people out here. Believe it or not, on the internet, there's a lot of dirtbags, but there are some really, really good people that I've met on Twitch. You know what I mean? And through streaming the last 3 or 4 years, and it's been way more good than bad.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's the way you look at it. If you just kind of filter out, like, how can I put it, trolls, unquote, negative people, and you really focus your attention on community members or friends, which honestly, let's be honest, like we started off as acquaintances, Buck, but I consider you a friend, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but I truly feel that way, and that's part of honestly, and I guess it's you have an outlook that I have that it's not always about like. You know what I mean? Viewers, and like you want those viewers. Don't get me wrong, we all do. But you're gonna be like I noticed. You'll have a stream one day where you're playing Dead by Daylight and you got 30 viewers, and you can have a stream that same morning playing MLB The Show and have 330 viewers, and you're the same guy. And that's what makes me really appreciate you as a streamer. And
that's what I tried. That's how my mom raised me.
Yeah.
If I acted like my dad, I'd be a dickhead. But I live with my mom. So my mom, instilled some good stuff in me. I have my moments, man. Nobody's perfect, and I have my moments where things just get to me, and sometimes I'll say things, off the cuff, and I should probably just ignore things, especially like on Twitter. Twitter's just awful. You really gotta. And that's one of the things Mills has taught me the last couple of years, is just start avoiding things instead of getting into arguments about things. Even if you're right, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Twitter can be a wormhole.
Make you look bad.
Twitter
it just
can be
makes
a
you
wormhole.
look like an asshole or make you look bad. Just avoid it. There's no reason to get into those kind of confrontations with people who you're never going to change their mind anyway.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
BC, you mentioned being around people like you who don't care about numbers, stuff like that. I think that's like kind of a core of like people who are good at running a business, is not to care about numbers and stuff.
Right.
There are extrinsic and intrinsic things that help you grow your brand or whatever.
Exactly.
And even past like ignoring the trolls, like something I've had to work on personally like the last 6 months is ignoring the trolls is like step 1. And I think step 2 is kind of like weeding your way around people who don't align with what you're trying to do. You know what I mean?
And so you have a very unique spot too, Brev, because when people come into your stream, since you're so gooned out at the game, they're expecting, well, I'm gonna see this and this and this that I've don't ever see. When on that stream particularly, you just want to have fun, and I could see where there's times where CBrev couldn't give a shit if he wins or loses. He's having fun, and actually, those are the streams I enjoy the most. And I love as a top player that you could take that little detour on occasion and say, screw being serious. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. The game is what it is. I'm gonna have fun, and that's
Yeah,
really
well,
what brings me to appreciate certain streamers.
that's mostly what I've been doing this year, and that's kind of what I was
Hmm.
talking about, because a lot of the comp community just cares about banners and winning all the time.
Yes.
But with my content, like, it's not about that anymore now that I'm growing a little bit. So I'm kind of having to weed away from trying to win every game and more towards building myself as a creator, you know. And I think I'm going to get a mom get the camera emote because people love to tweet at me when they beat me. So.
Right?
I'm so happy I'm not in that zone. I don't want people tagging me. I did a video at the end of 19. It was like, shit MLB the players say, MLB the show players say, and it was like, I just beat Pitching Rebel and gotta post this on Twitter. And the reason I did that is I seen it so many times. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you do realize Homeboy can't go 400-0, right?
Yeah, I don't know. People
Good
just
mindset to have, though, CBrev, is the mindset you have now.
appreciate it, man.
You know, that's the thing. I need to, that's the thing I try to do most days is just play the game for what it is, because it's the only one we really got. I mean, like I said, I played Super Mega Baseball 3 the other day. It was yesterday on stream, and I averaged almost 90 viewers for 6.5 hours playing that game. And that really shocked the hell out of me, because when I played RBI Baseball, it was like, half that, because RBI Baseball is just straight arcade, just it's almost like the original RBI Baseball. It's not like it's gotten that much better, you know what I mean? That's no disrespect, but Super Mega Baseball, you can edit your rosters, and you can run like multi-season franchise, and you can edit up to like 14 rosters. So what I did was I just made my I had enough mods to fill out one roster. So I made a mod team that I'm playing as, and then I'm going to take the other 3 teams and make them like VIPs and longtime subs, do like a raffle or whatever, and fill up those other 3 rosters with them. And it keeps your stats and everything. So, like, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool and something different to do, at least once a week or something, to get a break from the show and whatever else,
So it's safe to say RBI Baseball is a master and not a remaster.
Yes, it's definitely a master. And we were talking about numbers. The one number that I care about most when it comes to my community anyways is a lot of people have gotten inflated sub counts right now, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
But those aren't going to last.
No, they don't.
A lot of those have come from people who got their free tax money, and they've blown it on streamers. That's not going to last, you know what I mean? What I care about is I have 255 subs that have been subbed to my channel for more than a year. To me, that means more than, and if I hit 1,000 subs right on Twitch, which is huge. But
That's
right
very
now,
huge.
I've been hovering around 350 to 400, but I'm that way every month, and I would take that consistency over 1 or 2 inflated months. You know what I mean? And I would definitely take the consistency of people that have been in my stream for more than a year and continue to sub and stay, and they, you know what I mean? And pop in and out no matter what game I'm playing.
What that tells me is you have 255 people that no matter what, you're entertaining. And as a creator, that's something that you can't put a price on that. You can't anything. I think, like, as a creator, I would much rather have 255 loyal people subscribe to, say, my YouTube than 255,000 where 2,000 may watch my shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think viewers kind of don't understand that, like people that don't stream, that it's always like loyalty over numbers. But there are certain people that numbers matter over loyalty. But just me as a person, it's more about loyalty, knowing that no matter what I do, this person is going to watch and enjoy, and I can at least entertain this person for a few hours.
And I think what Buck was getting at was that numbers over loyalty is not a good long-term plan.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No.
It's not. I would rather have the consistency of an every month and know what I'm doing every month than have one huge month and then have things fall off. You know what I mean?
And it brings your spirit down.
Exactly.
You might think you're doing something wrong, where in reality you had a good month and people showed you love,
Or even worse would be, go ahead, Buck.
Well, I was gonna say people don't realize. I had somebody come in the channel the other day when I was playing the show and saying, "Man, I can't believe how many people watching this game this year, still this late in the year, and this and that." I said, "Well, there's a reason for that. It's because there's no Major League Baseball right now, and all these players were streaming the game, and it
Yes.
brought all these viewers into the community, and some of them are going to stay, but a lot of those people were only here for those players. And once those players stop streaming and they're back to playing baseball, they're, what I'm saying, a majority of those people aren't going to be around here. And even if we have consistently, right now the show runs between 1 and 3,500 people, it seems like, depending upon the day. Even with that amount of people, while it's good for our community and is better than last year, in the grand scheme of things, like if you go look at the Twitch directory, we're still, maybe in the top 50 if we're lucky.
Right.
We're getting beat. There's games that have been out for 8 to 10 years that still have more people watching it every day than watching the show. Like
We're
people
getting crushed by
get
Animal
a little
Crossing.
too excited about numbers that happen in just a short amount of time, and they don't look at the big picture. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that's just the way it is. The only people that are gonna have a huge, like, I don't know how to say this without upsetting anybody, but like, not everybody can be, Dr. Disrespect or Ninja, or we have a couple of those people in our community. There's Shelfie, there's Daddy Demu, and Cougs. Yeah, that I believe over time would still be the way they are right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because
those three people you named,
right,
they're who they are, and they built their audience through completely grinding. It didn't come overnight. They were at that small viewer count for a while, and like
Shelfie and Coop did it, by YouTube, and then they came over here and they started, they brought a lot of their YouTube audience. That's the other thing. People that started on YouTube and they bring their YouTube audience over to Twitch. It's amazing how many people still don't know about Twitch. Like, people don't realize there's only a certain small percentage of people in this world that know about Twitch. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's incredible.
And it's crazy.
Dude. Yeah, like
it's crazy.
I knew about Twitch. Like, I streamed on YouTube for a year almost before I was like, I'm gonna go try this Twitch thing. I've heard about it, and I'm like, how in the hell did I stream on YouTube for a year? That was the pit of misery, dude. But I love Twitch because there's so much more freedom. You can play whatever song you want. Well, there's guidelines, and then this new safety council shit, I'm sure, Buck, that you've probably heard about, which is complete bullshit in my opinion. They're taking streamers to make this safety council, who half of them I've never heard of, more than half. But honestly, I think as a streaming platform, Twitch is number one, and I don't think it's going anywhere, even with this Mixer stuff coming up, and certain people signing, which in the last year, it's a huge change to where you picked what platform you streamed on. Now people are getting that bonus to exclusively sign or stream, on this website. I kind of
a lot of those people are unhappy. Like, even Ninja, like, he's already unhappy. I mean, yeah, he's gotten paid, and he got paid probably a substantial amount to stream over there. But he's used to streaming for a certain amount of people, and on Mixer he just doesn't have it, and you can tell he's unhappy, and he makes comments about it. And I think once his contract's up, he'll probably end up back over here. It's the same thing with what's his face that went to YouTube to stream.
Was it Nick? I'm not big into the Fortnite stuff.
I can't remember what his name is. He plays with Tim the Tatman and them.
Is it Courage?
Yes, Courage. He's already complained about YouTube streaming Fortnite, how bad it is or whatever.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, he was talking about how, they talk about it all the time when they're playing together, you know what I mean? And so, like, and Facebook gaming is just, it's not.
Yeah. I wish Roflo, like,
So,
I watch
don't think
Roflo.
Twitch.
I wish he'd come over to Twitch, because
Yeah,
like,
I've told him that a million times, but he kills it over there because he's the only, he's Roflo, so he's gonna be good no matter where he's at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
just like
but
person
Twitch
like
is
me.
starting to lock up streamers too. Like, Twitch is starting to behind the scenes talk to streamers who, like my friend Angry Pug. He signed a deal with Twitch. He announced it like two Fridays ago, like a 3-year deal to stay here. Like, what that consists of is usually, I believe, the bigger streamers like that, they get a greater percentage of their sub money and stuff like that, where, a lot of us get a 50-50 split. They probably get, 70-30, or, it just depends on how big they are.
Yeah, and that's huge for
which is a
bigger
lot.
streamers, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Like, for us, it wouldn't, if they gave us 70-30, yeah, it'd be nice. But, like, when you're talking about 10,000 plus subs,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
a lot of
20%
fucking money, man.
is
Yeah, that's
big
a lot
difference.
of money. That's crazy. Like, it's I can't even fathom that.
I
To
couldn't,
get
yeah.
a Twitch payout every month that's greater than $50,000. Could you even imagine?
Yeah, I look at my
That's
sub count.
insane, dude.
I see 100. I'm like, fist pump in the air. I'm like, did it, baby. Got that
Yeah.
100
Yeah, dude.
again.
When I first hit 100 subs, I'm like, man, this is the life right here, baby. Let's go.
I'm eating Outback Steakhouse tonight, baby.
Right? We're having the good stuff tonight.
Let's get to a little
I
bit
mean,
of
I know taxes are ridiculous, but yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Taxes are, yeah. Screw taxes. Let's go ahead and a little bit of the IRL stuff. Buck, favorite team, MLB?
Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals?
Yeah, St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah, I think you've heard of them. Have you, BC?
Yeah, I'm a Cubs fan, but
I'm staying out of this one.
okay, what really got you as a Cardinals fan? Are you from the St. Louis area?
I'm from the smack dab in the middle of Illinois, and all my family, except for a couple, are Cardinals fans. The others are Cub fans, except for my brother, who's a Mets fan. I don't know how the hell that happened, but so yeah, I kind of grew up in that. Like, the thing that's weird though is when I was growing up, there was WGN and TBS, so all I got to watch was Cubs and Braves games.
How did I become a
So
Cubs
I grew
fan?
up on Harry Carey, Steve Stone, Leon Durham, Gary Moreland, Jody Davis, Rick Sutcliffe, Bobby Dernier, Sean Dunston, Jerome Walton. I can tell you all the old Cubs, like all the '80s Cubs. You know what I mean?
See, that's
Same
how I
thing with the
became a
Braves.
Cubs fan. Like, okay, we grew up in the same era, so.
But I like winners, so that's why I stayed with the
Oh,
Cardinals.
snap.
No, I'm just kidding, man. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed watching baseball. It didn't matter who the hell was played. I would, I had a cousin that came here from Detroit, and he was a Tigers fan, and we watched the World Series together in '84 when they played the Padres. And dude, I love those Tigers teams. Like, I went to the old Tiger Stadium. That place was amazing to go to because, like, the outfield, like the seats and stands, was so high. Like, it was crazy. Like how high that stuff was out there, man.
Yeah, I remember going to the old Astrodome, and dude, it was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
I
just
couldn't imagine.
wow. It was crazy. I remember when I was 18, 19, I went to over 30 games a year. But that's back when you could go for under $10 and a beer only costed $3 or $4.
Yeah.
And now you go. I mean, you got to pretty much figure you're gonna spend a couple $100 to go to a game at minimum. Well,
Wow.
unless you're budgeting out, you could go for $100 if you're going with somebody. But that's also part of the system, and I understand that.
Right.
But what was your introduction to the Cardinals? Like, what really got you as a fan? What team? What year? What players are kind of stand out to you as the Cardinals history?
Well, I started really getting into it, like I said, when my cousin came in from Michigan and he introduced me to baseball cards. That was like 1980, 81. And like I said, there wasn't much on TV, but then I listened to the radio every day. I would listen to Jack Buck on the radio, and that's what really got me hooked, because if you listen to Jack Buck do a baseball game, it was like you were watching the game. Like, the way him and Tim McCarver described that, the action and the way they talked about the game, you could like see it. Like, it was so real. Like, just the way they talked about it and the way they did their announcing of the game. You know what I mean? It was crazy, but like, it's like you could almost see it. And then the Cardinals went to the World Series in '82 against the Brewers, and beat the crap out of them. So that didn't hurt, me wanting to be a fan. And then the '80s, they were just really good. We had Whitey Ball, which, Whitey Herzog, and you had, Vince Coleman, Willie McGee, Ozzie Smith, and they were constantly stealing base. I mean, that shit was fun to watch. They
In my
caught everything
opinion,
in the outfield. Nothing
Ozzie
got
Smith
down on the
was
outfield.
one of the
dude.
greatest showmen and ever hit the field. I mean,
And they played on AstroTurf, man. All they had to do was hit the ball into the ground, and that thing would just one good bounce, and they're beating it out at first base. It didn't matter. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that was just exciting to watch, dude.
Yeah, I agree. I always there's this thing where Cubs fan, Cardinals fan. Like I've always said, like you just said, I'm a baseball
Yeah,
fan before I'm
yeah.
a
I don't
fan
hate
of
the
any
Cubs at
team.
all, dude.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I appreciate like I've watched Cardinal games. I'll say it, and I've watched Cub games, but it's kind of weird being from Houston. With we got that shit going.
Well, my
But
second all-time favorite player is a Cub,
who's
Sandberg, and then
right, dude? That's my favorite
Sandberg.
player of all. Well, Randy
Ozzie Smith's
Johnson.
number one, and then Sandberg's number
Yeah,
two.
my number two Sandberg as well. So we have that in
Could you
common.
imagine if you had Ozzie and Sandberg at second and short together? I mean,
Wow,
Tommy Herr was really good
that'd been
when
lockdown
him and
infield.
Ozzie were together, but Sandberg and Ozzie would have been
Here,
crazy. And my third favorite player now is Baez. So
here's a fun fact. Okay, I know you remember Andre Dawson.
yeah,
Threw right, power bat right-handed. I met him 2 years ago at an autograph signing. He's literally left-handed. Did you guys know this, or am I?
No.
It blew my mind. He went to sign something, and I'm like, he's signing it left-handed. I said, "You're left-handed?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "You threw right and you batted right." He goes, "Right." I go, "But you're left-handed." He goes, "Correct." I was like, I'm so mind fucked. All right, I'll just accept it for what it is. But it's
right.
just how much of an athlete and a freak do you have to be left-handed, but you throw right and bat right in baseball. That's
Yeah.
mind blowing to me, and a huge star at that. It was a mind blow for me. It was crazy.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up. Buck, we appreciate you being on the show with us today. It means a lot to us. As we wrap it up, go ahead and tell us about the different games you're starting to play on stream, what your stream schedule's like, what sponsors or affiliations you got going on, and how people can find you on Twitch.
I started streaming nights now too, so I'm doing Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time till 3 p.m. Central Time, and then I come back in the evening at 6 until 9 or 10. Just depends on what I'm doing or playing or how tired I am or how the baby's being for Jack. So I'm mostly streaming MLB The Show during the day, and at night I'm doing different games. I've been playing Valorant, been playing Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th. I'm playing Sea of Thieves Monday night with a group, including Jax and Schumann and Busy, one of my mods. And then on Saturdays, I'm streaming from 9 till whenever, usually 2 to 4 in the afternoon. And we're doing retro Saturdays. Like this week was Dead by Daylight. Next week we're playing PUBG and stuff like that, doing those things. And so yeah, I'm trying to stream at least 40 to 50 hours a week right now. I'm hoping to eventually get back into YouTube. I have some stuff on my YouTube, but I haven't really done much since baseball came out. I would like to do more again, but I gotta find the time or take some time off streaming. But I don't like taking time off streaming. I would rather do stuff live than recorded right now. I don't know.
Makes
And
total sense.
right, and then yeah, and then I'm affiliated with Control Freak. So if you play baseball, basketball, shooters, anything like that, they got. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Control Freaks. They have grips now too. They got freaking gaming lights. They're branching out. They got these little ring things now that sit on the stick at the bottom to help you with your aim. But it also, I've noticed that I had a couple people buy those and it helps them with their PCI control. I haven't tried them yet, but they're crazy. But use code BUCK at checkout, get 10% off all your Control Freak purchases.
Code Buck, BUCK. Guys, if you're gonna buy Control Freaks, use Control. And here's one thing people never talk about. I have these little hand grips on here from Control
the grips,
Freaks.
Yep.
Man, it makes a difference, especially when you're playing for hours. When I put these things on, oh my gosh, it's the little things that help so much. So guys, Control Freaks, code BUCK, 10% off, right?
Yep, 10% off.
10% off, and I've used your code. I think you know this though. But
sometimes they give us 20, but you'll see me tweet it out on my Twitter if it's 20%. Sometimes they'll randomly do that, but yeah, most times it's 10%.
You want to tell people how to find you on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, anywhere else?
Yeah, my Twitch is twitch.tv BigOldBuck. Same thing on YouTube. It's youtube.com/BigOldBuck. And Twitter, the only thing that's different is Twitter has _BigOldBuck_ because the person who has BigOldBuck hasn't tweeted or done anything on 3 years, but they still won't give me the account. So I'm fighting them on it, trying
That
to get it
sucks.
because the person doesn't even doesn't even use hasn't used the account in over 3 years. And they said, well, there's nothing we can do about it. I know better than that because I've seen people
Yeah.
get,
Ninja.
I've seen it happen. It just
Ninja
depends
guy.
on the person you get a hold of. So
Yeah.
yeah, I even have a Facebook page too, and it's the same thing, Big Old Buck. So
Nice.
Well, Buck,
yeah,
we
I put
highly
all my Go Live
appreciate it,
stuff
man.
on there. Yeah, no problem. I
And,
appreciate you guys too.
Yeah, so guys, be sure to check out Buck. His link will be in the description to his Twitch channel as well as his YouTube. And make sure, remember, if you're gonna do anything with buying Control Freaks, get that 10% off rather than paying full price. And any last words before we head out, guys?
I'm the official morning streamer of MLB.
Official morning streamer, right there, right there,
There
baby.
he is.
Boom. All right, well, guys, I want to thank you so much, Buck. Thank you so much for coming on, being our first guest on the Backstop, episode number 2. So, guys, morning streams, MLB The Show. Next time you're there, if you haven't already, check out Big Old Buck. You're going to definitely enjoy what you see. Great guy, super entertaining, always active, never gets dead during the chat or during the stream, which you see out of a lot of people. So definitely good at what he does. So make sure to check him out. But we're going to close it out, guys. Big Old Buck, Cardinals fan over here. Still love the boy. But
Somehow find it in your heart.
yeah,
That's right.
But all right, guys, thank you so much for joining. I'm BC, Big Old Buck, CBrev. So guys, thanks so much. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.